Hello everybody. In this video we're going to go through and do our notes together on reflections. So we're going to start by beginning with our vocabulary. It's going to be the same vocabulary as we did last class. So I'm going to go to the next page where I made this a little bigger, but this is where we're going to start. So if we look at our vocabulary, let's just remember that we originally start with our first shape, and that is called a pre-image. It is the shape that we start with. The image is the new shape that has been transformed. So we start with the pre-image, we do some type of transformation, and then we get our image. So when we originally start with our shapes, what we originally have are a bunch of points, right? And as an example, if I start my original shape here, maybe I have A, B, and C. Now, A, B, and C, they're located in the corners, the points, right? These are called vertexes. And a vertex is a point of a shape. So if you're listing all of them out, then we call them, like the plural of them, if you don't list them, we call them vertices. So one is a vertex. All three of these are vertices. Okay? So in the pre-image, our vertex could be labeled A, B, and C. So if you look at your original vertexes, I have them A, B, and C. But say we changed it. Maybe I did one of our translations, and I decided that I'm going to slide it down. And then when I go and draw my new shape, what you're going to notice is that in our vertexes, they're no longer called A, B, and C. What they do is they put A, and you're going to notice I'm putting a little apostrophe, a little dash up there. In math, we call that A prime. So if originally it was A, the new location is A prime. So if you did it again, so if they had two dashes there, so notice we have one. If they had two dashes there, we would just confidently say A prime 2. Because there's two primes there. All right, let's go to our next one. I'm going to go back. Everyone get this down. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. Oops, wrong button. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you where we're going to go next. So next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill out this section up top here. Once again, I'm going to go to a different slide just so it's a little bigger for us, so it's easier for us to see. Next slide. There we go. So today, last class we talked about a translation, which was a slide. Today we're going to talk about a reflection, which is just a flip when I flip the shape. So a reflection is a transformation in which an image is formed by moving the pre-image over a line or flipping the pre-image over a line. Called the line of reflection. And when you do that, what you're going to notice is that every single point, when you go ahead and do that, it's going to move in a similar way, okay? So when we move it, all the corresponding points in the pre-image and the image, let me make this smaller here, are going to move in the same distance away from the line of reflection. So you're going to flip it over a line, and it's going to be the same distance in both sides. One thing you want to remember, though, is in a reflection, the pre-image and the image, they are congruent. And what does congruent mean? That just means that they're exactly the same. Maybe they're looking in a different direction. Maybe they're moved around a little bit, but they're going to be congruent. So the corresponding angles have the same measurements, and the corresponding sides have the same measurements. And if everything's the same, that just means congruent. So now that we have that filled out, let's go fill out our final piece of information. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fill out this area down here. this little table where we'll practice our first problem. This one right there. So let me go ahead, let me slide forward for us. And here we are. So the first thing they did is they gave us a point. You can see they gave us a triangle. And they want us to go ahead and first write down its coordinates. So vertex A up here, I'll color it in red. I have vertex A, which is at 3, 8. I have vertex B, which is at 3, 3. And I have vertex C, which is at 7, 3. They want me to reflect it across the x-axis. Now, when you do these problems, they're always going to say reflected across the x, or like down here, they'll say reflected across the y. Now, to think about this, when you do a reflection is something that looks just like you. If I look at my reflection, it's going to look just like me. So when they say reflected across the x, that means the x's will all look exactly the same. It is a reflection of x, right? So all of my x's are going to stay the same. So 3 will stay 3. 3 will stay 3. 7 will stay 7 because they were reflecting the x. The other letter changes. The y is going to change. And what I mean by change is if the number's positive, you make it negative. If it's negative, you make it positive. So up here, if you go ahead and look, originally I had 8. I'm going to make it negative 8. I'm going to change it. Up here I had 3. Now it's going to be negative 3. Up here I had 3 again. It's negative 3. Now I'm going to go graph my new points in green so you can go see it. So 3, negative 8 is right here. And I'll label that A prime. 3, negative 3 is right there. I'm going to label that B prime. And 7, negative 3 is right there. I'll label that C prime. And now you can see my shape. And you can tell, look, it has been flipped. It was completely flipped over our line of reflection. And our line of reflection was the x-axis. We simply flipped it over this line. Let's go try it again. This time we're going to do the y-axis. So my last one is in green. I'm going to do this one in blue. So this time we're reflecting it across the y-axis, okay? So if I reflect it across the y, it is a reflection. Remember, reflection means you look the same. So if I'm reflecting the y's are going to look the same. So if originally it was 8, I'll put an 8 down. Originally it was 3, I'll put a 3 down, and this one was 3, so I'll keep it a 3. It is the letter that they do not mention. They did not mention x. That's the one we change. So if it was positive, the number will become negative. If it was negative, it's going to become positive. So originally right there, I had a 3. Now it's going to switch and become negative 3. I had a 3 there. It's going to become negative 3. And finally, I had a 7. It's going to become negative 7. So let's go and graph that. Negative 3, 8 is over 3, up 8. And I'm going to call that one A prime 2. A with 2 dashes up there. Next is negative 3, 3. I'll call that B prime 2. And finally is negative 7, 3. I'll call that C prime 2. And I connect my dots. There we go. I have my other triangle. So that's what we're doing here. If you're going to take away one thing from this video, what I want you to realize is that when we're doing reflections, the letter that they tell you to reflect over is the letter that stays the same. If you reflect over x, x stays the same and y changes. If we reflect over y, y stays the same and x changes. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please go ahead and complete your work. If you have any questions, please come and talk to me as well. Thank you. Have a good day.